Okay, this is a big bet board. Well, we're gonna have a lot of big bets on this board. We're gonna be betting really frequently. Here we have a backdoor flush draw. Here's some backdoor straight draw. That's really all we got. It's just a really dry board. It's hard for him to have a strong hand on this board. We only rolled a 31 on the random, but I'm fairly sure we're just being really aggressive on this board. And with the backdoor draws, I think this is probably a fine bet. Okay, similar story here. We're gonna be betting large quite often on this flop, and with queens, we're definitely betting large. Okay, this is a board that we're probably gonna be have to be a little bit more selective on. With this hand in particular, we do have top pair, good kicker, and a spade draw. So it seems like this is a clear bet. As far as sizing, we have all the overpairs. Actually not sure what sizing is preferred on this board. It's a bit dynamic. So my intuition would say a larger sizing. And we're being selective. So I think it's going to be a bet 5 with this hand on this board. Okay. Here we have a gut shot and 2 overs. We don't have a spade, which kind of sucks. I could see checking or betting with this hand here. In position with 2 overs and a gut shot. I'm certainly thinking this hand is a bet most of the time. I'd prefer to have a spade. But with the random being 64, like I think we are going to just, I mean, if we're betting this hand, like we're betting a lot of hands, which might be all right on this board. Okay, yeah, so maybe it's a mix. Majority of the time we're checking that hand there. Okay, here, I think this is a definite check. We just don't really have anything going for us. King high. This board allows him to catch up quite a bit, so our range advantage is not quite what it was. Okay, on this board, this neutralizes like a lot of our big pairs that we had pre-flop. We still have the best aces that villain doesn't have. Villain has a lot of jack X, a lot of gut shot type hands, a lot of suited cards, a lot of ace X as well. So we're gonna be betting pretty selectively here. Well, I'm not sure. 2 big cards is probably better for our range than it is for big blinds calling range. So we're probably gonna be betting a lot or often, but a bit selectively would be my guess here. And then with this hand in particular, we don't have a spade, which would be nice. It would block a bunch of his continues. And we have runner straight outs, but no spade kind of sucks. Random super low. So I think we're gonna look for a check. Okay, pretty much the exact same analysis here. I guess we're betting a bit more with 8-9. Oh, did we have a spade? I think maybe that makes a difference, right? Yeah, okay, so we have a spade. Here we go. So we're looking at 8-9 off. Okay, we're doing a decent amount of checking when or betting when we have a spade. Prefer the 9 of spades, but still betting a lot more at the 8 of spades as well. So that's interesting. And as far as sizing, looks like we can be betting large sometimes. And small sometimes. I'm actually going to change this to be three hands per board is fine. Okay, this is a great board for us. We have all the like really strong hands on this board. Villain doesn't. It is two-tone, which is like a little bit of a reason to slow down a bit, but this is just such a great board for us. And I think having the 5 of spades, like we need to have bluffs here. And this is like a board that's under bluffed. There's just not a lot of natural bluffs for us on this board. And I think some of the smaller pocket pairs make decent bluffs here on this board. We do have the 5 of spades. I'm tempted to say that this is a bet 5 here, with random being 1. Maybe a check. I mean, we also like gain protection from a bunch of hands like 7, 8, 9, 10 might not be folding right away. I don't know, but maybe they are 9, 10 off. Spade draws aren't folding, but that's fine. Yeah, I think this is likely a bet 5 here, even though the random's so low. Okay, we prefer smaller sizing on this board. Interesting. Okay, here, ace high, ace 8 off. We don't have a spade. This is probably like, even if we're betting super frequently on this board, this is probably a hand we're just checking. Random's 88. I think we're still checking this hand, to be honest. Right. Again, this board's really good for our range. We don't have a spade, which would kind of sucks here, but we do have a gut shot. And I think we're doing quite well against big blinds calling range. I do wish we had a spade. Like this would be a slam dunk bet if we had a spade, but I think it probably is likely still a bet here. Okay, this is a board we're going to have a lot of larger bets on. Here we block. We have a club and a spade, which is nice. We have 2 overs. I think we're just betting 5 with, we're just betting a lot. We're betting quite frequently on this flop. And this board has some, or I'm sorry, this hand has some blockers to like some backdoor continues, and some like things like that. So I think it makes a fine bet. Okay, exact same situation, but now we have one suit that is not on the represented here on the board. And based on that last one, that was sort of split between check and bet. I would guess since we have the heart here, this one's probably a check. Okay, ace king, we cover a couple suits. This one's definitely gonna be a bet. Well, actually, you know what? Kind of have the nut no pair here. We don't really need protection. I mean, it's nice to get him to fold some equity. And there's potentially folds of hands like 3s, 5s, 6s, 7s even. If we bet 94 being the random, I think it's definitely bet 5 here. Okay, here's an interesting board. It's rainbow, which is nice, but 8-9, having the 8-9 out there kind of connects a lot with big blinds range. But then the ace sort of helps us out a little bit. Like we have all of the best aces. He has hands like 10 jack, 6-7. We do block 10 jack, I suppose, like slightly. Yeah, this is interesting. We also cover a couple of the backdoor draws that might be check raising us here. And we have some backdoor straight draws. I think like king queen would almost definitely be a check. So I think maybe this hand is also a check despite us having the suits. I'm actually not 100% sure on this one. Okay, this is almost certainly a check here. We do block the backdoor continues, which is nice. We don't like really get much value from protection. I mean, I suppose we could be betting small. We could just bet 2 here. And I think that would be fine for the most part. But I think checking is also fine. Kings is likely like a slightly better check than queens. But again, we have a couple blockers to like his backdoor check raises potentially, which would make me lean towards, okay, with random being so high, I could see this being a small bet, honestly. Like, I don't think we're ever betting large on this flop, but I could see this being a small bet here. Okay, so we're meant to be mostly checking with a bet of 10, betting small 10% of the time. Okay, we're meant to be just betting it. Oh, that's the wrong board. Okay, we're meant to be betting at a fairly high frequency, but like you can see here, like definitely checking our king queens, our queens, our kings. Those are sort of our like queens and kings. Just have like a ton of showdown value, and they're just not worth that much when the ace comes out. And we'd hate to get sort of check raised off of them, or I mean, there's no real reason to be betting them because they don't really gain anything from protection. Like any hand he's continuing with either has us crushed or just doesn't have much equity. So no real reason to put money in that scenario. King jack suited likes a bet a bit more, like king jack off. We prefer it if we have a heart. It's interesting. Jacks are checking a ton, tens are checking a ton. King highs, our bad king highs are checking a ton. King 7. What's so special about king 7 here? King 7 blocks. I don't know. We have runner, straight outs. We kind of block 7-8, but like, does that matter? We block 6-7. Does that matter? Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder why we prefer, like why we love king 7 so much here. Do we like all of our 7s? I mean, queen 7, jack 7, ace 7. Yeah, so we just love 7 on this board. I wonder what Is it just some blocking effect, or also maybe like it gives us more barrels? Yeah, I'm not sure.